Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Conversations Over Coffee. And if you've been following along with the series, Sacred Boundaries Understanding Verbal Contracts and Sexual Vulnerability. And I believe that this is the fourth one. Help me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the fourth episode, right? So, what I want to kind of piggyback off of, if you have not watched the other three, go and watch the other three because of the lengthiness of this topic, I don't really have time to go back over like a recap. So that's why it's good for you to go back through the other episodes. And as well, there is going to be a PDF download in the description box. So you can have all of this information at your fingertips. You can take notes if you want to watch the video and take notes, that's fine, but you will have a PDF. All you have to do is go ahead and you can sign up for that and have it delivered into your inbox. So let's get started. So where I left off at, as I was going through the list of like what predatory men do when they are seeking after, a partner because they have now entertained these lower vibrational energies because they did not want to wait on what the most high had for them. So they made contracts with these entities. So now they're going after prey after women, and women going after men as well as prey because now they have to fulfill their contractual obligations to these entities because they did not want to wait for what the most high had for them. So let me say this. When a woman, let me just go back over part of what I was, trying to finish up on the last part of it. This is the cost that comes after these men come in and do their manipulation tactics. This is what happens to that person who is caught in that web because they face emotional collapse, they face spiritual heaviness, probably even abandonment from this person because once they have gotten what they wanted from this person, now they leave and they leave this person distraught, facing all of this trauma. They have this shame and regret around what they've done, and also codependency and maybe even health issues because of this person not only carrying a spiritual entity, which now they're transferring that spirit onto that other person through that sexual encounter, but it can also be an STD, a health issue, where now it's something that this person just can't go to the doctor and get a shot and get it away from. It is something that now this person has to live with this health issue for the rest of their lives. And if we just see the climate now with the AIDS, situation going around, and I mean, this is with young people. A lot of young people are contracting this, and they're just taking it as, oh well, I can take medication for it, and some people are saying, well, I can take medication to prevent it if somebody has it. Like, you're not even honoring your body to even want to lay down with someone who has this type of, disease or health issue because you feel as though you can just take some medication and it'll keep you, safe. Like, what about your mental and emotional stability in dealing with that, and this is this is why people have to understand. You have to understand that this is a spiritual war. We just look at it from a 3D standpoint, a 3D mindset, and just look at it as, oh well, it is what it is. No, you're in a battle. You're in a spiritual battle, and you can't wage a good warfare if you don't have the right tools. So this is what I'm here to do, is to give you the right tools to wage a good warfare. Now, this is what happens when a woman knows her birthright. When you walk in your birthright and you know what it is that the Most High basically says that is yours, you're not sitting here and looking for someone to give you something that already you have access to, right? You just have to go to the one who gives you the access to it, right? She moves from wisdom, she moves from her intuition, she moves from discernment, she moves from self-love, and that is what I've been preaching on this channel. Coming to love yourself is the first thing in order to weed out all of those men and women who are trying to come and capitalize on your good-hearted nature. Because once you start loving yourself and pouring into yourself, getting out of victimhood and what happened to you, in your past relationships and even in your childhood, I'm not saying don't go and do the work and heal from it. You need to heal from it in order to come into the awareness of loving yourself. Because a lot of times people have self-hatred. They hate themselves only because they have not tapped into who they really are. And once you start tapping into that, then you'll start understanding all of the warfare that has been surrounding your life, because you probably are chosen one, but because the enemy has gained access to your life through things that have happened in your childhood or through different relationships, you were targeted, not even knowing that God had chose you, that you have a higher purpose and a higher calling, but because the enemy got to you before you could come into that awareness to use your life. But there's always what I would say, there's always grace for you to turn that around. You can always turn it around. The enemy can't hold you when you denounce him. You have to denounce him. You have to speak it forth, right? The word of the Most High say death and life is in the power of the tongue, right? And you have to open your mouth and you have to proclaim that, and the enemy has to flee, right? It comes from you knowing your identity. You move with your identity, you move with clarity, and you move with spiritual alignment. When you are in alignment with the Most High, he guides you away from those things that would try to hurt you, even people around you. Sometimes the enemy will send people around you, um, family members, friends, co-workers, business partners, whoever those is, even love interests, husbands and wives. There was something that I heard this woman say yesterday, and I never thought it from that mindset. But what she said, it just broke open so much. Just the Most High was just giving me so much from that what I would say, what she was basically speaking, and I'm gonna kind of share it and kind of kind of try to get it the way she said it. He said, when we come into relationships and marriages, when we first, get into connections with people, she said, and then we see people getting divorced, we see relationships not working out, we see in all of these things just start going haywire, and we don't understand because we're thinking, well, I thought this was my soulmate, or this was my divine partner, this was somebody that I was supposed to do life with. But the reality of how she broke it down was, how can we really understand who is our divine partner when we didn't even know who we are? When we didn't know, we still had fears, we still had codependencies, we still were people pleasing, we were still in the energy of being a victim and being manipulative and all of these different things that we were still trying to, walking through. Sometimes we weren't even trying to heal from it. We were just doing life because that's what we would just knew what to do, right? Just get up and just move and just do whatever, right? But not understanding that when we connect to a person, not understanding that this soul that I'm connecting with, is this soul really a part of my higher purpose? Is this person that I'm connecting with, are they truly what God is sending in my life, or am I just choosing them based off of what my parents say or what someone chose for me? Because some what I would say, some cultures basically choose your partner for you. But what about what the Most High has chosen for you? What about the Most High, who he has aligned for you to be with, because he knows that this is the person that you're supposed to do life with? And that's where the abundance and the blessings and all of those things come in. And you are basically, I would say, a warrior for the kingdom of darkness, because when two become one, and it is a purpose under the sun of heaven, do you know the enemy like, oh, they done woke up today, so I know my kingdom is in trouble, because two people that are in alignment and know the purposes and plans that is on their life and know the anointing that's on their life, they're going to break down structures in the earth that the enemy created. When they speak forth with fire, and it comes down and it destroys and it breaks people free. It breaks people out of that mindset, out of that trap of that illusion that was, put over their eye gate. So now I want to kind of change gears here, because I wanted to just kind of finish that up, because this is really an important part that I want to really get into before my time runs out and I have to do another part 5. But I want to come into, now this, I had to kind of go and do some digging into part of science to kind of bring this to you, right? So certain parts that I'm going to give you is from things that I known and I've experienced, and then the other part is basically that part of where science comes in and makes it a little bit more clearer for us to understand. So when we are intimate with a person, and this is why the Bible says, when two become one, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. What does that mean? Do not be unequally yoked with someone who is not believing or in alignment with what where the Most High has you, because then you're basically really are two people who are not going to see forth what the Most High has for you, or either it'll be a whole lot of burdens, a whole lot of warfare. It'll just be chaos because you're unequally yoked. And sometimes I'm just going to say it. Even sometimes being in Christianity, you still unequally yoked, and the pastor sitting there telling you that that's your husband or that's your wife, and but you experience all type of warfare. Not to saying that certain things won't be tested, but it won't be on that level, especially when that other person is not in alignment with the will and the callings of the Most High. Yes, we can go through things, but when you know you are aligned with the person that is for you, you both do battle in the spirit together. You both get up praying together. You both get up like, oh no, we not having this. He prays over you, you pray over him, you pour into each other. So you know that that's an alignment. But when you got to be the only one walking through the house praying and saying things because the other one ain't, you should already know that should be we ain't in alignment. This is not who the Most High sent to me. But I want to talk about, especially when we're dealing with a counterpart, or a predatory, let me say this, a predatory man that's coming in and he's using sex as a way to bind you to him. Because again, that lower vibrational entity that is on him, or energy that is on him, now requires him to now go forth and now harvest the energy of another person, or to harvest that soul of another person, to either attach an entity to them, or like I said, I believe I said it in this video, or if not, it's the last one, or either cause some type of health issue within you. So this way, now your life is ruined because now you've opened up yourself in a way that you shouldn't have opened up to this person. And this is why I say, when men, predatory men, they want to get you in the bed really quickly. They want to continue to feed your mind with sexual images. It can be pornography. And I used to do um, um, deliverance around and teachings around pornography and what that does, because when you are a person who gravitates to pornography, pornography deals with images. And one thing about the brain and the subconscious, once it sees some type of image, you can remember a movie years back. You can remember a movie when you were a child. So if you can remember a movie when you were a child and the images and everything that you've seen, then you can remember pornography when you were watching that pornography. And what a person wants to do when they want to attach that entity to you, they will introduce that to you, or they'll try to get you into the area where now your that spirit of lust is now entering to you. So now you have this entity attached to you. And if we even want to go a little bit deeper, once you get into the place of now being intimate with this person, because one thing about intimacy and becoming intimate with this person is when a person, say, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but when a hypnotist is basically trying to hypnotize a person, they have to go through that logic mind into that subconscious, because then that person is open to now enact whatever that hypnotist wants to do. Maybe they want to put a suggestion in for them to stop smoking, or maybe they want to put a suggestion in because this person has a fear of flying. So they will open that part of that subconscious so they can put those suggestions. So this way, when this person flies or if this person tries to smoke, that they don't like that anymore, because now they have that in their subconscious. And that's the same way that a person who is a predatory male or female who is using sex to basically bind you to them, they will wait until you're into that state of that intimate moment, because then everything is surpassing that intellect and common sense, because now you're getting into the subconscious, because now you're starting to feel, and what we say, that dopamine and that that part of what they call that love. I think that, what was it called, the love, I can't think of it right now, but it'll come to me, where now when that person is in that act, all of the logic goes out of the window, and now this person is now open for suggestions when this person is intimate with them. And what that looks like is, when people, we hear them say, oh well, tell me it's mine, tell me you ain't giving it to nobody, does anybody, I make you feel better than anybody you ever been with, or I can do this, and certain things they will say or have you to agree with. And we have to understand the power of agreement. Amos 3:3 says, how can two walk together unless they are in agreement? So when that man or that woman is saying, whose is it? And you say, it's yours, baby, or whatever you call them, and I'm like, who? Well, you better not give this away. Tell me it's mine. Tell me you ain't gonna give it to nobody else. Tell me that I'm the only one. Don't you see? I'm the only one that can make you feel this good. And when you agree with that, you create a contract. Those entities come in the spirit realm, and they create a contract based around what you just agreed upon. So this is how now, when that sex act is over, you feel drawn to that person. You feel bonded to that person. And this is the reason why when the word of the Most High says, when two are married, the two become one. Because now when you are intimate with that person, you're bonded through that sexual act. And now you are drawn to that person. That's your husband, that's your wife spiritually, right? And just like there are entities that now try to bond to you in a way where if that person has that entity on them, and I think it's called, okay, those two names are incubus and succubus. And those are two spirit entities that when people are have made these contracts with these lower vibrational energies, that now they ride them, and they basically need to be fed through sexual activity. And a lot of times these entities don't care if it's the same sex. It doesn't matter. They have to feed this entity. And in order for them to do that, once they bind themselves to that person who they are pursuing, that that person now wants to keep that person stuck in that state, right? So once that person now feels bonded, and now they feel as though they cross certain lines with this person, that person can introduce them to threesomes and just do all types of things, because now they feel as though they have some type of control over them, and they put them in this place of now, you know, really belittling them, because now they feel as though now I got you, now I got you stuck, now I've done what I was supposed to do as far as, satisfying that entity that was on me. And what you have to understand, this is why I tell people, you have to know who you are laying down with. Not everyone, you better understand what happens spiritually. And I'm telling you this from experience, because with certain cultures, with certain cultures, they basically have um what I would say, they have married their children to entities and ancestors, and a lot of times these entities and ancestors were not living, okay? And these children don't know this, because a lot of times when they grow up, these children are sexualized. These children get into relationships as adults, and they go on to marry, but they don't understand why they can't keep, a relationship, why they can't keep a spouse, why they're always breaking up, because their culture married them to an entity when they were younger, based on what was ever going on in that family dynamic. Because a lot of people practice certain things within their blood family line that these children don't know, and maybe they do know that they were, used as an offering to these deities. And this is why you have to understand, and when I'm telling you this, is because I had to take someone through a deliverance process who they were married to um, an entity when they were, a child. And I actually seen it, because that's the vision that was given to me, that they were married to this entity that was not alive, that was dressed up in a wedding dress. And I had to basically walk them through that process. So I'm telling you something that I've gone through. And I'm not just telling you something that I've read somewhere. And spirits are real. And you better know that we are in a war, and we have to wage the good warfare, right?